back to the channel. This is No Luck Trucking. I'm Matt, and we are currently sitting inside of a shop in Clearwater, Minnesota. It's at a Petro 2, whatever that is. It's like a travel plaza. So this is a tire, oil change, repair shop, but it is not a Petro tire repair oil change spot. But I told Landstar that it was not legal to roll in the tires, so they're gonna purchase the tire here. Even though the people here were like, yeah, you might want to check, because we're not like, we don't have the same national accounts that like a Petro or TA would have. So I don't know if Landstar wants to deal with it. But when I told them that we really couldn't legally drive on it, they were like, whatever, they have tires, right? I was like, yeah, they got tires. He was like, okay, cool. Just have them call in for an authorization. So we did, and now we're here. It took about 3 hours, I think. Let me see if I can look at. Let's see. Yeah, so 3 hours and 10 minutes wait, not bad. And then we don't pick up the next load until tomorrow at, what did I say, 2? Don't be there before 2 to 3. Yeah, somewhere in that range. And that's about, what, 30 miles away?
Yeah, so can we talk about the fact that
yeah,
since this load wasn't on the board, there was a miscommunication?
do you want to come up here and tell that part of the story? I can turn the camera. We can talk.
Sure.
Yeah. Alright, so what happened and how did we get here?
So, the agent called me and said the load should be up on the board, because I was like, you know, I really would like to look at it on the board as you're going over it. And she said, yeah, it should be up there. I don't know how she had it posted, or if her computer was having issues, or what the deal was, but I could not find it on the board. So I swore that she said Plymouth, Wisconsin, which wouldn't have been a bad deadhead anyway. And since they were looking for a team, it made sense that they would call us even though we were in Minnesota. So this morning when I went to put the address in the GPS, I realized that everything said Plymouth, Minnesota. So instead of 360 miles, it's like 6 miles from where we delivered this morning, which is good, but it messed up my plans and adds a little bit, it adds that mileage to the load. It's still fantastic revenue, fantastic rate per mile, still would have jumped on it, but our plans did have to change a little bit.
Yeah, so I mean, whether we deadheaded or if it's added to the actual load, I mean, the load's under 5,000 pounds, so it really doesn't even, the weight doesn't matter. We're pretty much going to be empty.
Yeah.
And also, yeah, I mean, how do you beat 4,900 for a overnight run?
Yeah. So I mean, now it's 1,000 miles instead of,
let me see what this guy needs.
700 miles.
Hey, are you thinking you're gonna want something like brand new, or?
It's the company's trailer. They're probably gonna want like whatever the cheapest recap or whatever you have.
Okay, so something used then, preferably.
I'm really not sure. I don't know what they authorize, to be honest with you. I think that guy in the red shirt over here had called him earlier. I don't know if they gave him a certain criteria, or if there's like,
I'll double check.
Yeah, whatever they want to put on. It's not our trailer.
Sounds good.
All right.
We'd prefer you, but we're not thankful.
Yeah, that's the struggle, because I know Landstar's gonna want to go like the cheapest route, like whatever your recap or used. Well, actually, I don't think they would put on a used tire.
Right, that's what I was thinking. I don't think.
I'm pretty sure they would put on a new recap or a new tire, but
right.
I don't know. So I've never had a shop ask me specifically once they know that it's a company trailer.
Well, they must not do a ton with Landstar.
That's true.
Because most places that deal with a large carrier don't want to deal with you and just want to go to the company. So it's different.
Yeah. So this the load that we're picking up, it's still a fantastic load. It's just kind of threw us for a loop, because instead of big dead head, just gets added to the
And it was my
to the
bad
loan.
because, like you said, she did send over the rate con yesterday, but since we had talked about Plymouth, Wisconsin, I was just looking at all the other details and not the actual specific address that they had on there. But
It happens, but we caught it before we ended up going 6 hours the wrong way.
well, when the GPS said, yeah, it's 6.3 miles, I was like, hold on, wait, what?
Oops. So that'll be the interesting adventure. I don't see this taking very long. I mean, the guy's getting the tire off now. They just got to figure out what Landstar wants to approve. Hopefully they have it, and yeah, we'll be back in a parking spot. Actually, we're gonna try to get the truck washed, to be honest.
Almost noon.
We
This whole
wanted.
time.
Hey, that guy's taking pictures of his truck. I like it. Yeah.
Well, probably. I wonder why.
I don't know.
That looked more like, so you know how, what is it, companies?
Yeah, that looks
How
like
do you take
proof
pictures?
of
Right, proof of-
proof of repairs.
Yeah.
But
That didn't look like the angles.
yeah, no, that's not the
not
the
the-
beauty angles. That's
Yeah.
this is the work that we did angles. I don't know. I've never seen a shop that takes pictures of the after work when the customer's here. But
Yeah, that's interesting.
whatever. Yeah, we were gonna get a truck wash, but couldn't roll over to the truck wash since we let Landstar know that the trailer tire was not legal to roll on the road.
We'll
But-
find out. I mean,
Yeah, it should be fine either way. We'll be able to drive over there. Have plenty of time to reset and
Yeah.
still get over there tomorrow. So we'll pick up a little bit later. All right, I think the situation is deserving of an update. As you can see, we're still in the bay. This is about 3 and some change hours after the last update. So the guy got the tire replaced. I think they went with the used one, whatever. You know, I was under the assumption that they talked to Landstar. So then we were just waiting for payment and waiting and waiting and waiting. So I was like, hey, is there a way that I can like call them and maybe expedite this? He said, yep, we're just waiting on the payment. So I called and a different person answered, the trailer maintenance, and said, yeah, I see the repair, the authorization was for a tire repair. So like, how do you repair a tire where the tread was literally coming off of the tire? He's like, oh, well, you can't. I'm like, right. So why would there be a repair authorization when you can't repair this tire? So he's like, oh, well, that must be a miscommunication on our part. So I go back inside. And I'm like, hey, do you guys want to talk? And apparently this place does not have a national tire account, which is what we told the representative the very first time, because the representative here said that they do not, and a lot of times with the bigger companies that's an issue, to make sure. So we made sure. They're like, no, they have tires, we're good, we can pay it. So now Landstar wants them to remove the inner tire, send us on our way with no tire on the wheel to sit out in the parking lot, and they're going to do a road call for the nearest company that they have a national purchase account for the tires to come and replace the tire literally in front of the tire bay of the place that we're already here and have had stuff. Like, I'm glad that the Landstar doesn't want to put used tires on, because I really don't like the idea of putting a used tire on, but it's not my trailer, it's not my call. So, you know, I had no idea what Landstar wanted, and I thought they got with Landstar and got it approved ahead of time or discussed what they were going to do, but here we are. So this is a small look into the nonsense that dealing with trailer issues with Landstar is. And I know everyone's gonna say, why don't you buy your own trailer? Like, yeah, that is a band-aid for the problem. Like, Landstar's still going to have the overall problem And I think that needs to be fixed, is just the lack of communication, the lack of just understanding on this, and also, I don't know, just the amount of time that's wasted. Because, like, why couldn't they have told us 3 hours ago that they couldn't approve this because it was written up as, or it was authorized as a repair order instead of a replacement? But, you know, we're still gonna be all right. Our load doesn't pick up until tomorrow afternoon, so we'll just, as soon as they get somebody over here, they will let's take the tire off, and we'll wait out in the parking lot until somebody gets here to replace it. I'll probably update when something else happens in this comedy of errors. Check out our new website at nolucktrucking.com. On the main page, you'll find a link to our Discord community. When you join, you'll have access to text and voice channels where you can connect to a community of drivers. If you click on the shop link, you'll find our new t-shirt design. We're selling them for $25 shipped. Huge shout out to Sozo for designing the shirt and the website, and for bringing this all to life. So as you can see by the trucks next to us and not the shop setting, we finally made it out. So I have called trailer maintenance 4 times, and I've spent a collective hour and a half on the phone with them. So these guys completed the work, then had to go back and take the tire off, and then they were waiting for their payment before they could release us to leave for the work that they did, mounting the tire, dismounting, and there was an air, the auto inflation airline was leaking. So we've been waiting for a while. We talked to Mark in trailer maintenance, and he was the one that made the call to pay them for the mount and dismount, and then he called a shop to come out to us in the parking lot to fix it. So the first shop called and said they don't have the manpower, so they had to cancel the order completely. So they got a second one, and they were telling us it's going to be about 5 hours, which the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter. We're going to stay here all night, but right now it's 4 o'clock, so that means 9 o'clock. So probably 10, 11 o'clock before we would get to sleep, which still isn't a huge deal because we don't pick up until 2. And then, so while I was on the phone with this last person, just trying to get the shop paid so we could leave, because we couldn't really run the truck. At first we were trying to be respectful to them and not run the APU, but the battery voltage started getting low, and it was humid. It was so humid that eventually we were just like, we gotta run it. We gotta charge the batteries back up, because everything's been running while the truck's been off, you know, all the coolers and, you know, laptops plugged in and everything. So wanted to at least get the batteries charged up. And so we were just waiting and waiting and waiting for this payment, and everybody in there was just laughing like, man, these guys just sending you through the runaround. And like, this just goes back to a couple of videos ago where I said the #1 problem with Landstar is their trailer maintenance, or just their trailers in general. So this right here is pretty indicative of the stories that you'll hear from people that have been with Landstar. If you go on any of the Facebook groups, you'll see nothing but the complaints about, I spent 6 hours waiting for Landstar to approve this or whatever. So at some point somebody must have gotten the email that with their invoice saying that they replaced the tire, and then these guys, or somebody wrote it up as repair the tire. So like, yeah, repair the tread that's missing. So at some point somebody saw this and they didn't line up, so they just decided not to pay it, which is understandable. But why didn't they call the shop? Why didn't they call me? Why didn't they call anybody to see why there was a tire being replaced when they were under the impression that there was going to be a tire repaired? Like, so basically we sat for like 3 hours waiting on Landstar, but Landstar had already made their decision. They just didn't let anybody know. And I know everyone's gonna rush to say, oh, just buy your trailer. Like, yeah, that's not a solution to the Landstar problem. Like, the fundamental breakdown of their departments. So they're taking basically 7% of their split goes for the trailer. Like, you have the obligation to repair the trailer, maintain the trailer, and provide payments for repairs made. I mean, that's what the company is getting paid to do, essentially. So it's very frustrating, and this isn't like a one-time thing, like, oh, this mix-up. Like, this is a consistent thing. And then this is why nobody wants to take these trailers in, because like Landstar is not going to get a trailer like a axle alignment. They're not going to replace shocks unless they're like dripping fluid. They're not, like, the only thing that they're going to do is replace tires that are illegal to drive on and replace lights, or if there's like a gaping hole, or, you know, something that's on the checklist. They will not cover any preventative maintenance, any normal maintenance. Like, I'm pretty sure this trailer has not been greased since it was made. So 7 years of just lack of maintenance. But it's just so frustrating, this like back and forth. So every little step takes you like 4 hours. So that's why it will monopolize an entire day. So thankfully our pickup isn't until tomorrow afternoon at that. So now we wait for this other shop to I guess decide if they have enough manpower to come out here to replace a tire literally in front of the truck bay. So instead of paying these people by comm check and missing out on, you know, the couple $100 on the discount, they paid this shop $200 to do the work. They're gonna pay $200 on top of the cost for the repair person to come out to do a road call, because now that we have started this process, I can't drive it anywhere, because Landstar will pull your contract if you're knowingly driving an illegal, you know, truck or trailer. So we have to wait here. So they've costed themselves easily $400 or $500 just by not wanting to buy a tire here because we were in this parking lot. So it's just silly. Like, sometimes, man, the bean counters, like, count those pennies, and it's just, it doesn't make sense, and there's no logic to the stuff. Like, nobody is thinking about this like logically. So yeah, right? Johnson's Logic, what up? So it's like, you're gonna pay a lot more for this tire than just having them put on a tire. But here we are. So I'll update when we get further along. So sometime between 2 hours and never, a truck is gonna come out and replace his tire in the parking lot, so they say. Here we are, guys, the resolution to the tire situation. The guy from Blaine Brothers, yeah, I'm reading it backwards in the mirror, but Blaine Brothers, apparently it was like a few miles away, but, you know, couldn't drive there now that Landstar knows that there was a legal issue with the tire, that we couldn't drive on it since we knowingly, well, since we are aware of the problem now. But anyways, it's 6 o'clock, so that means we have been dealing with this situation for 9.5 hours. We made the initial call at 8:30. Long time, but we're good. We can get some sleep, go to that pickup tomorrow, go make $4,900 for a night's worth of work, and then go home. That's pretty cool. It's kind of like an old bread truck with all of his tools and stuff. Right on. Good people. He was pretty friendly, really fast, so we are good to go now. On today's episode of Take Your Semi-Truck Where You Probably Don't Belong, we just got over here for the pickup. It is pretty tight in here. Not a ton of maneuvering room, and the exit over here is pretty tight as far as making this turn to get out to the main road. But we got loaded. It's 3 pallets, super light. It's all strapped down, ready to go. So I think we're gonna have to turn up the heat a little bit, probably cruise around 70 this time. We have to make good time. The fuel economy will be decent since we're so light, but it's not going to be the best we could. But we have a time constraint at this point because, as most of you know, we don't run like the truck 24/7. So I don't sleep on the truck while it's moving typically. So I'm going to drive my entire shift, and then Liz is going to sleep while I'm driving. She's going to drive through the night, and I'll just stay up, and then we'll deliver, find some place to crash and sleep. So the issue is, if I don't get enough miles in and she can't do it in one full shift, we either have to stop and I have to nap, or I have to drive it in on no sleep from, you know, just being up all day, which isn't very safe. So I need to get at least 500 miles in so that she can comfortably make the rest of the miles. So I'm gonna try to put in like 650, something like that, but you know, we'll see how traffic goes and everything. So yeah, just gonna try to do what we can. Well, just fueled up about, well, clock just ticked over, so got 30 minutes out of the way. We've been moving pretty good. Passing a ton of traffic, left lane rolling when I needed to, so we're making decent time. We got jammed up in we're kind of like in between Minneapolis and St. Paul, so it was just bad traffic for like an hour or so, so it lost a ton of time. So we just had to kind of roll a little bit faster to make up for the lost time. But I think we're gonna be okay. It looks like I'll be rolling into the rest area, the large rest area, at about 2:30. It's 9 o'clock right now, so we got a little bit of time. Got about 4 hours, because I guess there is a time change in between. So got about yeah, about 4 hours of driving, 260 miles. So we can make it happen. Just gotta stay with it and not get tired. Gonna probably listen to a podcast, something, maybe some music, keep me awake. Munching on some pistachios and just whatever to keep your mind occupied. So we'll pick up a little bit later, probably when we switch, and see how it goes.
Well, we made really good time right up until, I think it would have been probably about 2 o'clock this morning. We switched and I immediately hit traffic. So there was apparently an accident last night on 70 East, just east of Indianapolis, and supposedly it was at like 9:30 last night. I don't know what happened this morning. I saw ambulances going by like 8 hours after that accident. I don't know if there was a second accident, but I sat in traffic for, I think it was about 3.5 hours. Just watching the clock, getting real stressed. So, gonna make this a short update because I gotta get back on the road, but we should still get there with plenty of time. We just lost all that comfort room that we had, but thankfully, I think we're still gonna make it just fine.
It's time we wrap this saga up. So we made it over to the delivery. So their truck entrance wasn't, well, I guess their main entrance wasn't labeled, and everything that we saw, there was like a guard check at the second entrance, but apparently they don't use the second entrance anymore. So we had to turn around on this like small road, found like an old excuse me, found an old rock quarry, got turned around, went in. So it was one of the places that was super strict, so anything that could take a picture they needed. So I had to give up GoPro, phones, laptop, drone, all the stuff. They wanted any knives that were longer than 3 inches. They got on the truck and searched it, so it's not like we could film it anyways, but we had to get an escort from the main gate over to the ballistics laboratory. But it was like 3 pallets, so it didn't take long. And then we had to get an escort back. But it's like the doc, I mean, none of those guys cared or even, you know, knew why it was a pain, but had to like blindside in off the street. But it wasn't too bad. There was a decent amount of room, but like I'm running on 0 sleep. Liz is running on whatever sleep she got while I was driving, and then she just stayed up worried about the clock that was ticking and ticking closer to the end of our delivery time. And they had it on the contract that like if you're late, then like they take money off and stuff like that. But I don't know how serious that would have been if we needed to call the agent and let them know that we were running a little bit behind. But they're Monday through Friday, so if we didn't deliver today, it would have to be Monday. But we made it. It is a long day. I have slept maybe like 30 minutes an hour. Been up since yesterday at 6, so it's been a long day. So I think from here we're gonna wrap this up. I'm gonna edit it. I'm gonna go to sleep, and then I'm just gonna drive us home later tonight or early in the morning when we wake up. It's been an adventure, from getting the tire replaced on the trailer, that taking forever, and then this load. So like I said in a video a while back, like you always have to find the catch in the loads. Like nobody's just gonna feel generous and give you $5 a mile. There's always gonna be a catch, and the catch on this one was we're going to like defense contractor type places. Actually, I don't even think they're defense contractor. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's like really strict for entering. And yeah, it was out there. Had to go to this like small town. Not the most fun, but we are in the spot. We are getting some McDonald's because it is prepared for us, and we're tired. Like I said, I'm going to edit this video and then just going to go to sleep for a long time. So thank you for watching, and we will catch you on the next one.